Welcome back to Get Down to Business, the show all about small business, jobs, and entrepreneurship. I am excited to be joined by Daniel Gagnon, who's an organizational agility advisor who co-founded the Agile Leader Academy, a boutique training, coaching, and consulting firm to help leaders develop progressive team building skills, dynamic and adaptive work environments while avoiding the traps of naive over-optimism or simplistic positivity. That's certainly a topic I know everybody wants to learn more about. Daniel Gagnon, welcome to the program.
Thanks for having me, Scott. Really pleased to be here.
Absolutely. It's an honor to have you. So I always love to start by getting to know the person behind the microphone. I mean, how did you get into this and really identify some of these areas of what makes a successful agile leader?
Well, basically it was a long process. I'm a career project manager. I was a very traditional project manager, portfolio manager, program manager in large financial institutions for many years. And when I first encountered agility, it was sort of like counterintuitive. I was going, "What is this way of working?" There was a team next to me, next to my office, in that that initial large financial institution that seemed to be having too much fun, and they were getting on my nerves. And I'm going, "No, this can't be serious stuff." But I wound up working with a team that was doing agile, and it became because they were doing it successfully, and there are some very specific criteria to how it can be done successfully, which I've learned over the years. Basically, they turned me around completely, and it was like a light switch going off at one point, and I could not go back to an entirely traditional way of doing things. I had learned that pragmatism and a context-driven approach to how we work within organizations is absolutely paramount, and you can't hold yourself to any specific way of working or dogma. You need to learn what works in your context, and that was
Yeah.
the biggest thing for me.
Indeed. And many business leaders are beginning to realize the benefits, both organizationally and financially, of creating an environment where all employees and stakeholders feel invested and validated enough to challenge the status quo. I mean, the theme of this week really is leadership. I know you and your team have trained thousands of people, held many, many, many events, and you've spoken regularly. But I want to dive into some of these areas so it could be helpful to our listeners and their organizations. So let's talk. I mean, human centered workplaces. That's something you are the subject matter expert on. How can that culture naturally facilitate employees to push company growth?
I insist upon that human-centered aspect because one of the things I have seen too much of is process-centered organizations, and it's particularly endemic to the phenomenon known as digital or agile transformations, whereby usually a transformation is imposed, a methodology is selected, and it is rolled out in a traditional change management fashion. It's rolled out usually by consultants who are also doing staff augmentation, who are going to be there for a very long time, and they're bringing something from the outside, and they're bringing these processes in without taking into consideration the human aspect. Now, the biggest thing about the human aspect in organizations, the pandemic made this abundantly clear, but it was also already operative before the pandemic. The key dirty secret about organizations right now is that they're riddled with fear, discomfort, and suffering. Uh, it's that simple. And the only way to go beyond that and get to a point where the human centeredness is built around empathy and getting everyone to a state of agency. Um, there are no two ways about it. You have to work with the culture. You have to work within the organization. And the biggest lever, and what we understood and through our experience at Agile Leader Academy, what we've seen time and time again, the biggest lever is the leaders themselves. The
Yeah,
problem there,
absolutely.
the leaders have been caught between a rock and a hard place. You know why? It's very simple. The rock is Agile itself. The Agile community has done an abysmally poor job of taking leaders into account. Some of the methodologies go almost as far as to deny the true need or pertinence or relevance of leadership, which simply you can't just wave a magic wand and say, no more
For sure.
managers, no more leaders, let the revolution ride. The hard
Daniel,
way
I
is,
have to
yeah,
ask.
go
Sorry
ahead.
to
Yeah,
interrupt,
please.
but sorry, I have to ask. I mean, I'm curious. A lot of companies, especially in the technology space, are diving into that agile space. But I know one of the things that you have argued is that this is really industry agnostic. And so, if you don't mind, in just 30, 45 seconds or so, tell us a little bit about some of the industries you've been working with and how all companies can get in touch with you.
Um, some of the latest work I've done has been, um, one very successful engagement with a very large law firm, and getting leadership there to, a law firm is basically a constellation of partnerships. It is incredibly adequately suited for an agile way of working. By that, just an openness to innovation and a willingness to hear what everyone on the team has to say. A partner and his or her team
Yeah,
are an agile team. Another one was manufacturing. Manufacturing in a huge, global appliance manufacturing company.
absolutely.
Software
Absolutely. Well,
works
I
far
know
better
all
for them.
industries and I know all leaders will want to get in touch with you. I know you regularly appear on podcasts, and I know we're going to have you back on real soon. But how can we get in touch with you if we want to learn more about the Agile Leader Academy?
So the website is agileleader.academy, and the best way, to get in touch with me personally is my best response is on LinkedIn. So Daniel Gagnon, that's Gagnon. Really have fast response time there.
Awesome. Daniel Gagnon, thank you so much for joining us. We'll link in our show notes and really, really grateful for you coming on. We got to squeeze in a quick break. We'll be right back.